Okay, so we're back with part 2. So this is Ventures Level 2. We're continuing with Unit 7 for Wednesday, April 23rd, and this is our part 2. What we want to cover in this video, we want to introduce superlatives, and then we want to practice asking and answering questions that compare 3 or more things. At the very end, I would like for you to complete workbook pages 82 and 83 before you start part 3. So to start, I found a little video that I want to share with you that helps explain superlatives a little bit. So let me turn up the volume and then we'll get started on this. I'm going to kind of read it a little bit because it has text on the screen, but it doesn't really read it to you. So I'm going to point out some things as we go along. So we're comparing equality among 3 or more people or things. So it's going to be similar to what we were doing before. And we're still talking, but superlatives compare the quality, and a quality can be color, size, or anything like that. And but this time we're doing 3 or more things, where before we were only comparing 2 things. So we see how you have 3 people instead of 2. So you have Mr. Owen, Ian, and David. And Mr. Owen is tall. He is the tallest. So that we're comparing 3 things. David is short. He is the shortest. Out of the 3 people, David is the shortest. Okay, so we're going to read some more examples and see if you can notice the spelling rules that form the superlatives. So it's going to teach you how we spell and how we use superlatives in grammar in English. Mr. Owen's legs are the longest. So when we're talking about the one that's the most, you see, like longest or shortest, we add est onto the word. Superlative ends with an E, we're just adding the ST on the end. We don't have to add another E. It's just an ST because it already has an E. Is the happiest. So just like when we wrote heavy or any of those, we're always going to take the Y off and add the IEST. So if it ends in a Y, take the Y off and add the I, and then you add your EST. short adjectives ending in a vowel and a consonant, we double the consonant and then add est, like we did for bigger. We're going to do 2 G's, est, thinnest, 2 N's and an est. So anyway, that gives you kind of a short preview on how we will be doing when we talk about superlatives. So now I want you to go into your student book and turn to page 88. And I want you to review the grammar chart here with the QR code. Go ahead and scan that and then come back and we will continue. Okay, now that you've had a chance to review the grammar chart, I want you to go back and turn to in your student book back to the beginning, to page 84, you know, at the very beginning of Unit 7. And let's look at those pictures. Which piano is taller? The black piano is taller. Which refrigerator is cheaper? The white refrigerator is cheaper. Which chair looks more comfortable? The purple chair looks more comfortable. Which lamp is the cheapest? The small table lamp is the cheapest. So, go back to your page 88. And I'm going to pull up something for us. Okay, so here's the adjective that we use to describe something, and then here's the comparative. That's what we were doing last time. And today we've been talking about the superlatives. So if you have a chair that's cheap, what would be your comparative? That would be cheaper. And then if someone else had a chair and it was even cheaper, it'd be the cheapest. So cheap, cheaper, and cheapest. So if the comparative is big, the adjective that we used was, bigger, then the adjective we used was big. So what's bigger than big? The biggest, right? And if we're looking at the superlative being the most expensive, what would that be? This one's harder. Okay, so your adjective is, we're talking about expensive, then something is more expensive, and then the most expensive. So if your adjective is good, we don't say gooder, right? We say better. And then your superlative would be best. Okay, so let's look at cheaper right up here. So let's say you had a chair that was, I don't know, $100. What would be cheaper? That's if you had another chair. Let's say this chair was $80. But what if there was another chair for sale and it was only $60? So a cheap chair is $100, but cheaper is $80. But the cheapest chair you could buy, maybe $60. So let's say, let's do the same thing for expensive. Let's say I wanted to buy a shirt and it was $60. That's pretty expensive for a shirt. But let's say I found another shirt at the mall at one of the big department stores and it was $80. But then I went to, let's say, Macy's and found a Michael Kors shirt and it was $100. So expensive is 60, more expensive is 80, and the most expensive would be 100, right? And the same thing for big. We can talk about the tables. Let's say for a big table seats 6 people, right? But say I wanted a bigger table. And it seats 8 people. But the biggest table I have, say at the store to buy, is a table for, I don't know, 12 people. Okay? So a big table might seat 6, a bigger table might seat 8, but the biggest table I have at the store might seat 12. Okay? So here's the adjective and then the comparative and the superlative. The superlative is always going to be the most, the cheapest, the most expensive, the biggest, the tallest, whatever adjective you're using, it's going to be the most, okay? So go ahead and you might want to jot some of that down so that you know how we're using these words. Okay, so back on page 88, we see after the grammar chart, I hope you've used your QR reader and reviewed your grammar chart. And then it says some statements, like the blue chair is cheap, and we see the blue chair is $79. The red chair is cheaper, and it's $59, so it's going to be less. But the yellow chair is the cheapest, so it's going to be even less money, and it's only $29. So on part 2, what I would like for you to do is go ahead and stop your video, and if you can use your QR code reader and go ahead and complete that part, and then come back and we'll do it together, okay? And okay, so I have my QR reader, and I'm going to play it here.
Page 88, Exercise 2A, Track 12. 1.
Which TV is the cheapest?
The second TV is the cheapest.
2.
Which TV is the heaviest?
The second TV is the heaviest.
3.
Which TV is the most expensive?
The first TV is the most expensive.
4.
Which TV is the oldest?
The second TV is the oldest.
5.
Which TV is the smallest?
The third TV is the smallest.
Okay, so it says the third TV is the smallest, but it's the second one. That's error. Yeah, it even says that in my book. I don't know why it's any different. It's just an error in the book. So it should be the second TV is the smallest. So if you need to stop the video, go ahead and do that and make any corrections. And then we'll pick up with number 6.
Six.
Which TV is the biggest?
The first TV is the biggest.
Okay, once again, I think there's an error in the book because I'm seeing the widest is in my book. So I'm going to put the widest and then it's the first TV. So I don't know if they didn't change the recording from a previous book or what's going on, but this should be the answer for number 6.
7.
Which TV is the best?
The first TV is the best.
8.
Which TV is the newest?
The first TV is the newest.
Okay, so there we go. Anyway, there was a couple errors, but I think we got it straightened out, and it could be that those are in an older edition. So if you have an older edition book, those might match up with yours. So anyway, you can go ahead and stop the video and practice asking and answering those questions with someone. If you don't have someone to practice with, then just go ahead and read them out loud and practice your fluency. The other thing is the homework or the workbook. I want you to do pages 82 and 83, and we will go over them at the beginning of part 3. So go ahead and have those completed before you start part 3. And the other thing I need you to do is be sure that you're writing your name in the comments section so you're always getting credit for having viewed the videos, and it's the same as signing in and attending class. Okay? And I will see you for part 3.